Welcome to the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. This is your number one crypto podcast to hear directly from the movers and shakers, innovators, and disruptors in the cryptocurrency industry. Follow on Twitter for updates and to communicate directly at Woof Big Dawg. That's at Woof Big DAWG. Now, here is your host, the one and only Big Dawg Crypto.
Digital Bits is a protocol layer blockchain focused on supporting consumer digital assets. This is inclusive of assets such as loyalty and reward points, branded NFTs, fan tokens, and notably branded stablecoins. Find Digital Bits on Twitter at DigitalBitsORG. Digital Bits, making the future happen today. And welcome to another episode of the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. I am your host, Big Dawg Crypto, and on the podcast, this episode, the one and only Charles, CryptoCharles, the legend himself. My brother, how are you doing?
I'm cracking up at your description of me. The legend, I don't know about any of that.
You are legendary.
The one and only. I really appreciate it. I'm doing great. I'm a little bit late to this interview. The people who are listening aren't going to know this, but I'm a little late. It's been a hectic day, but I apologize for taking so long, and I appreciate you having me on. It's an honor, and I'm really stoked to be here.
Man, brother, I appreciate that. And look, I know it's all good. In fact, as I was sharing with you, so I went ahead, anytime you have somebody on, you want to kind of, and you and I have, we've been familiar with each other for a while, interacted on Twitter and whatnot. And so, I went and pulled up some of your episodes. I listened to the one with John McAfee, and then the one with the Wolf of All Streets, which was awesome. But just in general, you've done this for a long time. Let me ask you this, and I'm going to go back to you would always ask people about goals in business and whatnot. What would you advise to somebody that wants to start? Because, in this space, a lot of people want to. What would be your number one piece of advice to someone that wants to start a podcast?
Oh, man. Okay. It depends. There's two goals for people who are starting podcasts. Some people do it very much just for fun. They want to talk to people. They want to share information. With mine, that's kind of how it started. And then it turned into I'm going to get paid. I'm going to get some sponsors, get paid for my work. And at that point, I kind of lost the passion for it, because while I was still enjoying, sitting down with entrepreneurs, talking about their businesses, how they built them, that whole sort of thing. For anyone who doesn't know, is called the Crypto Entrepreneurs Podcast. I had entrepreneurs in the industry, which was still great. But, my biggest issue was it kind of started to become a job. I was having to put out 2 episodes a week. I was doing all the editing myself. I was doing all the uploading myself. I was doing all the outreach. So, my biggest, tip would be, one, start slow. Don't, bury yourself in work. 2 episodes a week was starting to get very hectic for me. If it's starting as a passion project, especially, start very slow, 1 a week, 2 a month, 1 a month, anything like that. It'll really help ease yourself into it. And then if you're really got a passion for it, you're able to crank out episodes. You can up that number. But if you start very heavy from the start, it kind of looks like you're starting to slack as time goes on, which sort of happened to me. And I always felt like I was disappointing or letting my audience down, because some weeks I would only put out 1 episode, or it would take a week and a half to get an episode out. So that's 1. 2, I had a ton of people lined up, ready to go. I was cranking out episodes. I actually had a backlog of about 10 or 15 episodes. And as I was starting to do more outreach, trying to get more people on, et cetera, I was finding it hard to schedule with people. Even today, I was a little bit late, which is unfortunate, and I apologize, but things happen, stuff pops up. Everyone, especially if you're doing anything in this industry, there's a lot going on. So people kind of have to move stuff back. And a lot of the times when I wasn't putting out episodes, it was because, we had to reschedule this episode with this person, or I didn't hear back from this person. So another huge tip I would say is just make sure that you have a very solid backlog of episodes before you start putting them out. Because again, to see success, you want to kind of have that continuous drip of episodes. You want to develop your audience and get them to know that, hey, on, Monday, the first Monday of the month and the third Monday of the month at 5 p.m., episodes are coming out. They know when to wait for it. They know when it's happening. And if you don't have that kind of schedule set, you really don't capture as big of an audience, and episodes fall through the cracks. People don't see them. People forget about them. And you really want them to kind of be on this solid schedule. Right. And then I'd say like the only other huge tip, especially for starting, is to kind of develop your audience before you start the podcast. We all have these online personas that are, our avatars or our actual people and our actual selves. So we've all kind of developed this community and this following, if you will. And so to get people kind of excited about it, like if you look at Up Only, Crypto Cobain has a huge audience on Twitter. He started hyping it up, before it was really even a thing. Hey, you guys interested in this? This is something that'd be cool. When he puts out new episodes, he's talking about them before fact, and he's really building hype every single time, or him and Ledger are really building hype before every episode, before the podcast even started. And the reason I say this is because when you get started, it's going to be very slow to start, or at least it was in my opinion, or in my case, I should say. Right. I had a semi-big audience. I was expecting there to be a lot more listeners. But when you come out with something new, people are skeptical. They don't want to take the time. There's so much stuff that people commit their time to already that a podcast, especially when it's an hour or so long, people are like, I don't know if, I have the time for that or something like that. So it took a while for mine to start growing. I actually almost gave up on it, took about 6 months off from it, kind of reworked things and picked it back up. And that's where I really saw that kind of increased steady growth, when I kind of nailed everything down, got that hype built back up. And if you don't have that initial hype from the start, it's going to kind of just slowly pick up traction if it does. And it can be kind of discouraging. So leading into that, it's kind of, not getting discouraged with viewership from the episodes, number of people listening in, number of people engaging with the content that you're putting out. Because again, everyone's attention is getting pulled in 50 different directions. Sure. And unless you're kind of berating these people with, hey, I put out episodes, they're good episodes with great guests, you need to be listening to this. If you don't berate them with it, you're not going to get them. And so if you just keep at it, eventually that audience starts to grow. It starts to snowball. More people are interested. They're sharing it with their friends, their family, etc. And that's kind of where you start to see that pickup.
That's excellent advice. And it's very interesting you said that, because one of the key things you said about having, some episodes in the bag, so to say, before you start. I had asked somebody that had a big podcast show, and he said the same sort of thing. So I think you have the experience in here. So yeah, you would know. I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And then, like those are the key things when you're starting out. It's very easy to run a very small podcast on your own. You can do the uploading, the editing, the outreach, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But as you grow, I feel like a lot of people start podcasts with the idea that, okay, I'll get some sponsorship, start making some money from it. If that's not your thing, that's perfectly fine. It's more of just a hobby. But if you do want to turn it into kind of more of a job, career, et cetera, some sort of side income, the first thing you should be looking to do is outsource. Because as the name, the face, the voice, whatever it may be of the podcast or the show, that's kind of where you can shine. Your personality can come out. You can do all the speaking with guests, pulling information out of them, talking about whatever it is that you want to talk about. You don't really need to be doing the editing, the uploading, any of that, even outreach, trying to get people to come on your podcast. So from my experience, I wish I had, taken the time to say, hey, I want someone uploading my videos. I want someone editing my videos. I want someone doing outreach, some sort of personal assistant or something like that earlier on, because I don't think I would have been as burnt out.
So you were doing
Wait,
so you were doing all of that yourself?
All of it. Wow. And I know, if I remember correctly, you have a background in radio, correct?
Right. Yeah, I've been in media for a while. Yeah.
There we go. So it's all, second nature. First nature. Yeah, no doubt. Like, you know how to do all that stuff very easily. I was, terrible at it. I was learning it. I was slow. No, of course. It's still terrible.
Yeah,
but
I
yeah,
know how to do it, but it's time consuming. And just going through your episodes, I'm like, man, he's got a lot of episodes, and the fact that you did all that, I mean, brother, that's a lot.
I know. But unfortunately, it came time where I got kind of burnt out and I was getting pulled in a couple different directions. And as much as I love sitting down and talking with entrepreneurs, it's something that I was very much passionate about. All that other side stuff really just killed me and it burned me out. And so I decided this is what I want to put on pause. So for anyone who's out there who's, unless you're crazy passionate about, mixing and editing and, distributing content, find somebody else to do that for you so that you can continue to be that voice and that face of the podcast.
Absolutely. No, makes total sense. And thanks for letting people know that, because like I said, they listen to things like this and there's people that want to start them. So, and this being my first month, and I appreciate you being, one of my first guests on this, it means a lot.
I appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah, no, definitely, brother. I'm glad we were able to connect in this. So let me ask you this. So looking back in the past 2 years, what would you say is one of the most Deegan plays you've seen in this space? What would you say is just one of the things that just surprised you with how much money got pumped in, how much stuff happened on any of the coins, food tokens, whatnot?
I mean, honestly, right now it's a very hot topic. Doge, like it has gone ballistic.
I guess it is.
I mean, honestly, if you think about it, you got kids on TikTok who invested $1,000, and it was, it bottomed at 16 sats.
It's crazy.
I know it's gone absolutely nuts, and retail's making a ton of money. A lot of people are being drawn towards cryptocurrency trading because of it. There are people who threw in $10, $20, $50,000 and have made retirement money. So, right. I mean, that's the hot topic right now. Today, everyone on Twitter's talking about Doge. What kind of kicked off this whole DeFi thing was kind of the food tokens. You mentioned food tokens as well. That was kind of what kicked everything off. I think I went on some sort of vacation, and I came back and people were talking about sushi and hot dog and ice cream and cake and blah, 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 blah. And it underlying, DeFi, decentralized finance, all of these tokens, this yield farming, liquidity providing, it's a very hot topic. There's a lot of money to be made, but people were just throwing, absurd amounts of money at any food token they could because of the success of the first, I don't know if it was sushi or whatever it may have been, that kind of first token that had a food name. After that,
it was some kind of food. I don't know.
Yeah. After that, it was anything that had a food name. People were just throwing, hundreds of thousands of dollars at it. That's probably the most degenerate play I've seen, just in the last year or so. Yeah, just like the whole DeFi market. I mean, there's good, kind of projects few and far between. But then all of it is, just filled with dog shit. Sorry if I'm not allowed to curse, but I mean, I apologize. That was unprofessional. No, that's fine. But
no, but it's true, because it's like all of these, the most shit coins known to man. I mean, you name it, and it got pumped up, and people threw, and it was like, oh, there's Cupcake coin. Let me put my life savings, and it gets really. I think it's fair to say it gets to be like a casino to an extent. I mean,
100%.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to say it's like a casino, but it is. I mean,
100%. Another example I would kind of say is the kind of the forks of these different coins. Those seem to be very, very degenerate plays. You looked at SafeMoon. SafeMoon did a 10,000x or something. Everyone who put in money got disgustingly rich. Is another one of those TikTok coins that blew up on TikTok, right? But shortly after that exploded, there was then Safe Mars, Safe Uranus, Safe blah, 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 Moon this, Moon that. There was all these different offshoots. And if you look at Safe Mars, if I remember correctly, it did like a 50 or 100x or whatever it may have been, 10, 20, 50, whatever it was. People made crazy money just because it was a fork of it. Someone really quickly forked it, started pushing it on social media, and people just started throwing money at it because it was the next Safe Moon. So any of these TikTok coins, anything that gets picked up on social media very easily, especially TikTok, those have been, I'd say, the most like degenerate plays I've seen thus far.
Well, but to that extent, no, and you're right. But it's like, Doge, you go back to with the OGs back in 16 and 17, and they had no idea. I mean, if you'd have told them, and I think this is fair to say, if I told you 4 years ago, we were back in time and I said, look, in 4 years, either the world's going to shut down or Doge would be at 75 cents, you wouldn't have thought either was possible.
No, I'd lean towards the world ending over Doge.
Yeah, right. Like there's no way.
$1.
But dude, that's the crazy thing is that like people now, I get calls and stuff from people that, not even crypto asking about it. And they don't, and respectfully, they don't know enough about like what's going on in the space. And it's just like the newest best thing to them. And I think they don't realize that Doge back in the day was, when we liked Doge was a fun coin. Everybody had just a little bit. It was, the price point. Nobody back then knew what it was going to do. I mean, this is that the media was going to pump it up and Musk was going to make it into his favorite pet project. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that really just kind of speaks to the narratives in this market. Like, a lot of these coins, it doesn't take a lot of money to pump these coins. Everything is very heavily narrative driven, or at least that's what I'm seeing and thinking from something like this. Like, Doge is what, number 4 now? It's got a, I don't even know what market cap, $50 billion market cap or something. It's a meme coin,
Let's see. Oh no, my brother. It has actually gone up from there. Right now, Doge is at, pull up my slow computer here and get this. Doge, market cap of Doge, and this is going to time capsule this episode down the road, right? Because jumping ahead 5 years, somebody's going to be like, oh my gosh, Doge was so cheap back then. The market cap is 80 billion. It's past XRP at 70 billion. Binance coin is at 99. So if it goes another 20%, which is probably going to happen, so that you're going to have it right behind Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yeah, which is, absolutely insane.
It's crazy. Like nobody thought this. And that's what the new people that will call and ask, and they're like, oh man, did you hear about this new coin Doge? I'm like, yeah. No, I want a time machine.
Right. Yeah.
I want to go back and buy a whole bunch of it.
That's the thing is, there's so many projects in this industry that are one, either complete crap, or two, actually doing something and are providing value. And you look at something like this meme coin Doge that's blown all of them out of the water. And it really does, again, just speak to that fact that so much of this is narrative driven, and retail does actually have this purchasing power that can move the markets. And it's kind of crazy to see, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Wall Street bets, all that stuff that's happened. I mean, it's crazy. Well, let me ask you this. So kind of on a different subject, have you ever had a girl take a ledger like when she left your house?
No, my ledger actually sits in a bank vault. So I've been pretty fortunate. I hope that never happens in my entire life, but with the kind of women that I speak to, it's very much possible. So I see where you're coming from.
You know what you do? One. Hey, look, take that ledger and put some of the food coins that have already gone down. And that way she thinks she has something good.
There we go. My decoy ledger will be at my house.
Yeah, right. So let me ask, and on crypto Twitter, give the people that are, learning about this and whatnot, 2 or 3 or 4 accounts that you would say are must follows, because I really feel like, in the space, and look, I am so happy to be on crypto Twitter. I've really enjoyed it, connecting with you. A lot of the people that I consider friends now, just because we've interacted over the years. But I think for new people, and I get people ask me all the time, who would you recommend? Give me a few accounts that people should follow for overall good advice, good trading, shit posting, whatever, just, to help their experience.
It's funny you asked this question, because I think it was literally yesterday, somebody in my DMs in Discord was asking about this. It was someone from the group. And they were like, hey, I'm not super experienced with crypto. I'm trying to get more involved. Is there anyone that you can kind of point me towards on crypto Twitter? And the 2 that immediately first came to mind, because, the crowd I run with, I'm not super serious. I'm not trying to pull all of this quote unquote alpha from Twitter. I think it should be a fun experience, and you're supposed to be connecting with individuals, because I think that brings a lot of value in and of itself, not just, following a couple of people and trying to extract alpha from them. But 2 of the big names, Crypto Cobain, he's probably one of, the biggest names on crypto Twitter. Most people know him. And the reason I said him was because he attracts a very, very dumb, but also very, very smart audience. And you can see that in the comments section of a lot of his posts. He keeps it very serious in some posts and then also keeps it kind of, lighthearted and fun in other posts. And so you can kind of follow his posts, and from there you can branch out. You can find that funny, silly, degenerate crew that's making a lot of money just trading, having fun. And then you can find the guys who are very serious, who are kind of building and pushing the narrative. So
and
that's
definitely a good one.
I would say, he's number one. He's great. He's funny. He's super kind. That's number one. Number two, I think everyone should follow Inverse Bra. He is the keeper of crypto Twitter, I would say. And the thing is, the reason I say this one again is very similar to Crypto Cobain. He is constantly posting, funny stuff that's happening online. He's posting very smart people's posts followed up by very dumb people's comments to those posts.
Sure.
And so you can look through those and see like, wow, this guy has put together a very well thought out thread. Let me go now follow this person. He's very good at documenting crypto Twitter as a whole. So, when I was following him, I constantly see new people who he's screenshotting. And I'm like, oh, this looks like somebody that I would like to interact with, that I would like to talk to or follow, and have found many of the people that I follow through those posts. So those are two. Sam, SBF, Alameda, I think he's a great follow. He's really making leaps and bounds in this industry, really trying to make or push that gap or, condense that gap between traditional finance and cryptocurrencies, decentralized finance. He's got the naming rights to the Miami Heat's basketball arena, whatever the fuck it is. Right. He's was one of the biggest contributors to the Biden's campaign, if I remember correctly. He is constantly trying to bridge that gap, is constantly pushing the Solana ecosystem. I'm a big believer, quote unquote, in the Solana ecosystem and the fact that I think that there's a lot of money to be made there. And he's always constantly, looking for new investments. Alameda Research is constantly investing in new projects. He himself and his team are kind of on the bleeding edge of things. So I think he's another great follow. I'm trying to think, there's a billion other people to follow on crypto Twitter. I don't use it as much for that, super heavy analysis, trying to keep as up to date. I kind of keep it more fun and lighthearted. But I think starting with those three, I think you can really find the niche and the kind of group of people that you want to associate yourself with on crypto Twitter.
So I got to agree with you. All three of those are good accounts, solid accounts. And as you know, they're like you said, there's so many accounts. You can't, of course you follow as many as you can, but I always say pick up something from whoever you can, right? And hopefully makes you a better trader or understand the space better. But, as you said to me before we started, I said, is anything off limits? And you said, no, you said, you can just, I'll discuss anything, right? And so one thing about me is that I'm kind of the same way. When I'm having communicating or talking, I want to be real straightforward. So Inverse Bra, let me tell you my issue with him. Hold on. So
no, it's fine.
No, but it's not. So I'm going to share with you. So, he's one of the more obviously creative accounts on crypto Twitter. And there's no doubt when somebody says something, just, you know how it is. It's dumb. And then they tag him. No, I always look at this post. It's very entertaining. But he used to retweet me too, but he doesn't retweet me anymore because we had an engagement over CZ Binance on something one time. And I'm actually going to bring this up because it's kind of funny, but it leads into something else, which is a bigger issue of the space or a bigger question I want to ask you about. So something happened, I forget, and I either defended CZ or something. Look, my thing is this. If you follow me on Twitter, right, and we interact, I'm cool with it. Now, you and I have talked before, so, a little bit more like on a friend level. But in general, I can't, I'm not going to hate on somebody that's following me, you know what I mean, and interacts with me. So CZ and I, good relationship, but just know him through Twitter. Well, I had defended him or something, and I forget. And he didn't, I don't know, he stopped retweeting me. But I think this is the thing, is that, CZ, and not just him, but let's just say Coinbase, let's say the corporate part that it's gotten to, right? We really have got this space where at the end of the day, we were about decentralization, of money and making it to where it's a level playing field, right? And the way crypto, the good things it does. I think in general, there's still a certain bit, and I want to ask your opinion on this. There's still a certain bit of, we're away from the traditional banking system, right? Like look at Coinbase. And I've never had any interactions with Armstrong and whatnot. But I mean, there's a lot of people that don't like Coinbase, right? They don't like how they've done it. They don't like, things they've done. So do you think as the space grows, because look, you've got Grayscale, you've got all these companies coming in, right? Buying it, but yet we still want the decentralization. Now, on the flip side, people, let's say that don't like, not just CZ, but whoever, right? They don't like them, but then they find out they can get their coin listed. They're like, oh man, and they'd be cool with them. So it really seems to me, and this is just not any particular person, but a general statement. How do you reconcile the need for us to be independent, right? Decentralized. Look at the DEXs. I mean, look at Uniswap, which is eating the lunch of a lot of exchanges, no doubt about that. And yet the corporate kind of aspect that is absolutely in with crypto. You follow what I'm saying? Like it's really kind of a dichotomy there.
Yeah, it's kind of a catch-22 almost. If you stay niche and kind of stay true to that full decentralization, you don't expect it to pick up as much as it does. Grassroots movements kind of only are going to go so far, and without these big centralized exchanges that are putting money into marketing, that are putting money into building, that are, creating teams and onboarding thousands of new people a day. Without that, I don't think Bitcoin would kind of be where it's at. It wouldn't be back in the spotlight. Cryptocurrencies in general wouldn't be back in the spotlight. Not as many people would be talking about them. So you kind of do need these centralized exchanges. And hey, you can hate on, Coinbase as much as you'd like. They get people's money out of bank accounts into cryptocurrencies. And then from there, those people can either hold their Bitcoin, on the exchange, they can send it to their wallet, they can diversify into alts, start using DEXs. It really comes, down to the individual level. I have zero issue with Coinbase doing whatever they want. I may not like everything that they do, but at the end of the day, they're a service where you can onboard fiat into crypto. And I think that is nothing but beneficial for an industry that, not many people are talking about. Are you going to go out there and are you going to, onboard people and somehow convert their dollars into Bitcoin yourself? It's a big endeavor. And, I applaud people who do that. But without these huge exchanges, without, the CZs, the Brian Armstrongs, the, Sams of the industry, we're just not going to get to, we wouldn't have gotten to this point, in my opinion. I think where it matters and where you can kind of stay true to the decentralized nature of things is on an individual level. Like you have to, yes, maybe go through Coinbase to get some Bitcoin. From there, you take it off the exchange, you put it into your own wallet, you pay for goods and services with it, you use it as intended. If you think that's how it should be intended, others say store of value. I don't want to get into that argument, but then it's completely in your hands. So there's these centralized exchanges, you can use them and then, get rid of them completely by taking it off and kind of taking control of the Bitcoin that you then own, which is what this kind of whole industry is about. So I don't know. I have a lot of people are upset with these, institutions coming in. Then on the other hand, or the flip side of the coin, there's people who are ecstatic about it because they look at cryptocurrencies as solely an investment. So, I bought Bitcoin to sell it higher. I bought Ethereum to sell it higher. Those people, they're probably super stoked on it. And from an investment perspective, a lot of the reasons that I'm buying these altcoins is, the hope that they go up and that I can sell it for either more Bitcoin or more cash. And, all of these big names coming in, everyone kind of pushing it, getting media attention. That's nothing but good for the speculators. So I agree. I don't know if that kind of answers the question.
No, that does. That does.
I've just kind of been trailing off there. I'm sorry.
No, it does. And look, and let me just say this before we move to the next topic. No, it absolutely does. But just to be clear, to me on crypto Twitter, you learn so much about the space. You learn a lot about trading. It's a great way to follow the coins and tokens. the amount of shit posts. It's just entertaining. Like of all the social media to me, it's like, honestly, man, it's no BS. The best part of my day when I'm going on social media is crypto Twitter, just because it's like, I'm more comfortable. I just enjoy it. I enjoy the interactions. There are certain accounts, if I had to do a list of the top, 25.
I was going to ask if you had some top accounts because.
Well, no, I mean, you, and I mean, seriously, I mean that. I mean, that I'm, for years, so no, you absolutely, the wolf of all streets, I would have in there. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I like Tom Lee of Funstrat. I mean, he's CNBC guy, he's interesting, but I mean, it's just, gosh, that's a Bitcoin dude, I like him. I mean, there's a bunch of good ones. That being said, I want to say this, though, before we leave this topic. Inverse Bra should absolutely be on, if you look at the list of people, I mean, it absolutely makes the crypto Twitter experience. So I would put him normally in the top 10, but because he stopped retweeting me, I'm going to have to move him to the top 25. But maybe we'll see at some point.
That's fair. No, yeah, that's fair. I mean,
but he should be. And so I don't know, because I know somebody on CT is going to come and I'm going to take some shit for this.
No,
but anyway,
I don't think so. I think everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Going back to this topic just before we kind of leave it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like you were saying, there's so many accounts out there covering so many different topics. And so to just pick one or two or five or however many, it's pretty difficult to do. I think instead, if you're new to crypto Twitter, you should first kind of figure out what you're looking for on crypto Twitter. If you want to keep it light and fun, there's a lot of people on there who are doing just that. If you want to be kind of on the Bitcoin, spread the good word, really get everyone to understand what sound money is, there's a crew for that. If there's, hey, I want to make as much money as humanly possible, trading the traders, the fundamental analysis and the technical analysts, those guys, there's a whole group of people that are like that. So it really just depends on kind of what you are looking to get out of it and what you want to do or what you want to spend your time on Twitter for.
Right. You know what? Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of had me thinking, and it's one of these, you kind of threw me for a curveball there for thinking for a second, but 4 accounts that come to mind are BitShaman, if I'm saying that correctly, a guy from Britain, interacted with him a lot, consider him a friend. He's got some great stuff, comes up with some alts or whatnot, but also some good stuff. Crypto Dawg, we call him top dog in the space. He's got some good stuff. Yeah. Kevin Swenson, say his name correctly, as the YouTuber, and then Crypto Zombie, I think does a really good job. That's the other thing too I want to mention. And actually, one other question now, thinking in, I like to put on different YouTube videos occasionally. Back in the day, I was working. You had music, whatever. Now it's always some sort of information on crypto because I just try and absorb, and learn about it and I enjoy it. YouTubers, to me, like the modern investor, he reads the stories. You know what I mean? Like the crypto stories. I don't have time all the time to go through all the stories. I have them on the background, whatnot. Would you recommend any 1 or 2 crypto YouTubers, or do you do all that, or what are your thoughts?
YouTube's tough. Honestly, I feel like I hardly have the time for it. I've gotten extremely busy. I don't know the last time I watched a YouTube video, I would say. Again, going back to Cobain's podcast, I think he has on some of his episodes are fun, lighthearted jokes. But if you look at some of his more serious episodes, they're talking with some of the top people in the space. And, because of his notoriety and his clout, he's able to get those kind of people on his show. And other people aren't quite able to get those kind of people to come on. It's kind of just in a different league. And so the information that is shared on that show is I'd say top notch.
Yeah, it's real good.
The thing I have a somewhat hard time with the YouTube, the YouTubers and all these YouTube channels that are popping up is it seems to be filled with so much garbage. And I think that's why I've kind of strayed away from it because there's, so many people are posting, Ethereum's going to 50,000. And then 2 days later, they've got a, video, why I sold all my Ethereum.
Yeah, I try to stay away from those. No, I know what you mean. Yeah, there's some real bad ones that are it's clickbait. No, I'm talking about the ones that are a little bit more responsible, like Cryptos R Us and stuff. I think he does a good job. But no, I understand what you're saying. There's some real crap.
Honestly, it's been tough to sift through kind of the terrible videos that I've seen on YouTube. And so I just haven't been digesting as much YouTube content.
Well, and the other thing too, I think, is that they have the referral links, and there's nothing wrong. They want to have those. The problem you have noobs that come in and then go 10 million X leverage and get wiped out on one trade. So it's kind of like, here's the keys to the race car, jump in there, and they don't know what the heck they're doing.
Which, to be honest with you, I don't have as big of an issue with. If you start leverage trading and you don't know what you're doing, I think that is more of, a personal problem than it is, say, the YouTuber who's shilling you the referral link.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. No, you can't blame it on that. No, look, there's a fair amount of degenerate gamblers in the space. I mean, it's what it is. And I think when you see the option to make that kind of money, that's great. The problem is you can lose. And I think for the newer, but on the other hand, look, some say losing the money is a great education, right? Because when you lose something, you got something up and you lose it, guess what? You just paid a lot of money for an expensive crypto education.
Yeah, that is true. But I also think that's like people kind of brushing off their how should I say this? Their carelessness and their kind of, I know, I get where you're coming from with the, I'm making this much money here, go leverage trade here. Oh, people end up losing money. You dangle tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars in front of their face and then say, you can do this too if you leverage trade on my account. I think that's super irresponsible. But I think my bigger issue is with the people who are, getting paid to promote projects, because I think a lot of those, I've watched some YouTube videos where you don't even realize it's really an ad. The whole YouTube video is pretty much an ad for this.
Oh, yeah, you got to watch. Yeah.
New coin or new currency. And I feel like a lot of people get sucked into that. I have a very good friend who's just now getting interested. And he's like, hey, I'm watching blah, blah, blah. I can't remember who it is. They were talking about this coin. They made it sound great. I went and bought some. And I was like, I personally think that coin's 100% a scam. And
you know what, brother? No, you're right. And it's interesting because, being an analyzer in the space for a few years, the people that I watch now and pick bits and pieces, just trying to get some of the news that's going on, are completely different than ones I would have checked it a few years ago. I'm not going to say names, so I'm not looking to slam people, but there's some real crap out there.
But no, I think that's the thing is like, over the last couple of years, you've kind of found these gems, you've picked them up and you've continued to watch them and they continue to put out great content. My concern for the new guys is or I guess my word of advice to the new guys is, to reach out, to talk to people, to see what they're interested in watching and not go for these flashy guys on YouTube or, you know what I mean? It's kind of hard to explain.
I do. And and you just, sometimes you're talking to somebody and you kind of think out, you think something out loud I hadn't thought of. And it's like, I guess now, like when I'm watching something and even the ones that I like, I'll take the good stuff, but with stuff that, I don't like, or I just, it's something that's a scammy thing or whatever they might be talking about. I gloss over it because I know what it is. But the new people coming in, I mean, they see them and,
it's hard for them to differentiate.
No doubt. Yeah. But once again, the experience of going through stuff and dealing with it. So, well, let me ask you this on a different thing. You're in a bar, you're hanging out, you're having a drink. Nouriel walks in and Peter Schiff walks in and they talk to a lady. Which one would you think between Nouriel and Peter Schiff has more game?
Oh, man. That's a tough
Which one would you think would have? Just to,
Peter Schiff, just off the top of the head. I mean, I've listened to both of them speak. Nouriel kind of is a little bit too aggressive, in my opinion. I know Peter is as well, but
angry.
He seems very, very angry all of the time.
I think he was making money flying around to conferences being anti-Bitcoin, and since he got grounded with everything shut down, he's even angrier.
I mean, he doesn't talk with that kind of swagger and confidence that I see in Peter. I could sell.
I mean, that man, talk about selling. If I had like a car dealership or I had a pizza place, I want Peter out there selling, because you got to admit he can hawk his stuff even in the worst times. I mean, gold's had a 3.7% return, 4%, whatever in a year. Bitcoin has it in a day, and he's still out there acting like it's the best investment in the world. I mean,
there are still people who are paying him money to purchase gold through his kind of services. So I don't know. I think he's a great talker, a great salesman. I think if you're at a bar, those are some crucial skills right there. So I think he takes it.
You know what? I would agree with you on that. In the morning, and I asked this of all my guests this year, what do you, coffee, water? What do you drink in the morning?
I need my coffee to start my day, but I'm actually about 5 miles from the office, and I've been biking into the office now that I've gotten settled here in Miami, and that's starting to wake me up.
Okay, you're in Miami. Okay, cool.
I'm in Miami now.
Are you going to the?
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not a big conference guy. I've attended a couple conferences.
Yeah.
It seems like one of those places where you kind of, everyone gets together and is kind of forcing themselves together. And it's just, an awkward, big old mess. People talk about, oh, you can network and do this and this and that. And I don't know, there's some people I would definitely love to see, a very, select few people. But overall, I think just like the whole conference thing is not really for me.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I've been to different conferences, not crypto ones, but it's got its good, got its bad. Sometimes different parties, associated may be fun or whatnot. But and then if you're out at the bar, what's your drink of choice? Wine, beer, tequila, Grey Goose, Jägermeister, or what?
This is a tough one. I mean, I usually just go with like a dirt cheap beer. I get like a PBR or a Coors Light. Every once in a while, I'm feeling like a wine mom, and I'll get a glass of wine.
Are we talking like Chardonnay? Are we talking
some
wine or
a cab? Yeah, some sort of cab.
Can I put this? Hold on. You do the points of the podcast. You say join CryptoCharles as we talk about. Can we have like 4 or 5 things and say his preferred drink, what sort of wine or something? Can I kind of have a little fun with that? Is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love red wine. So no, it's all good. It's all good.
I like getting the wine drunk. It's fun from time to time. But honestly, I'm not a big bar person. I don't really go out too much anymore. Kind of focused my attention elsewhere, I should say. Yep. Big on surfing, big on camping, big on getting outside. I
see you post about the outdoors. Well, and real quick, let me say that too. I've seen you post about the outdoors. You've made posts basically that, it's great to make money, but you would be happy being at some like awesome place in the country with some hiking and mountains and beaches, whatever. You seem like you'd be very comfortable just kind of, just chilling out in nature as opposed to in the city.
Yeah, that's always kind of been my go-to. I mean, I very much enjoy up until I started the group and got way more serious with Amazon and I've gotten a little bit older. It was always, what do you want to do? Let's go camping. I live 2 hours from Joshua Tree. My friends would go out there once a week, or once a month, twice a month, I should say, and then we'd venture out. California's got a ton of national parks. We'd hit Yosemite, we'd hit Kings Canyon, Sequoia National Park. There's so many in California. And that's always just been kind of where I'm most comfortable, where I'm most happy. I've gone on multiple solo road trips where I've just gone out and camped in every state I could.
Nice.
I think there's just something very special about it that a lot of people get caught up in. And I myself have been very caught up in recently. And I attribute that to getting older, kind of trying to start plan a little bit more for my life, my future, my parents, my future kids. So I've kind of lost some of that in a sense, but I try to get outside any chance I can. I'll go set up the slack line between 2 trees and just spend some time in the sun. Dude, I think it's super crucial.
That's awesome. No, and the reason I wanted you to say that was because, one of the things of this podcast I'm really trying to is to get it out to people in the space, but new people and whatnot. And it's to me, that is so important because you spend as a UI, right? All of us, we spend so much time in front of the computer, in front of the smartphone and I'm like, I've got to get away, whether I go running with the dog or I'll go hiking. And I several times a week, I'll go away and sometimes just for the whole day because I can't. The problem is, and especially as we get into Altseason, the full of Altseason here, you're on it nonstop. So you've got to have a break. And I think people need to realize now we're it's like a public service. Look, attention to this PSA brought to you by CryptoCharles. Get out in nature and enjoy yourself and then come back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People need to realize that. I mean, it's important to say that. Yeah.
Burnout is real. And I feel like so many people are, I'll just push through a little bit longer. I will, stay up another night. I'll trade for another day, another couple hours. And it's
the market's not going anywhere.
No, yeah. That's the thing is
24/7, 7 days a week. They ain't going anywhere.
The thing is, I think a lot of people get caught up in quote unquote how quick the market moves because there's always something new coming out. There's always something new that people are talking about on Twitter. It gets the engagement, it gets talked about. Stuff seems to move at the speed of light on Twitter. But if you take a step back and kind of look at the development as a whole of these projects, of the industry, you look at stuff like total market cap, slowly just grinding its way up. You look at Bitcoin, it's over the last 10 years, it's slowly just grinded its way up.
No, you're absolutely right about that. Yeah.
And I think that was my biggest mistake, in my entire kind of career within the cryptocurrency industry, was trying to move too quick, bouncing around too much. If I looked at what I would have made if I had just held Bitcoin, Ethereum, a couple other coins that I had invested in for longer terms, I probably would be at around the same place, if not better, than I was if I had jumped around, lost money here, gained a 10x here, lost another little bit of money here, blah, 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 blah. And your peace of mind and your sanity is way more important in this industry if you want to be here for the long term. And so going back to the getting outside, it really is just find something that can kind of take your attention away from this go 24/7 market.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. All right. Well, final two questions. One personal, and then one final one about a general thing for the audience and crypto Twitter in general. So
awesome.
You meet a girl, and she is
I don't talk
very
to girls.
Attractive.
Next question. I said I don't talk to girls. Next question.
So wait a second. So do you prefer hot and crazy, or average, but not crazy and absolutely no drama?
I think I'm still young enough for the hot and crazy.
I figured you were going to say that.
I can still have that kind of fun. I mean, honestly, like hot and crazy for the long term is probably not the best call. I'm shooting for hot and normal if I can get that, and I'm not going to settle for less. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's fun to go out on dates and date someone who's a little bit crazy and likes to spice things up and have fun. And people are going to tell me I'm dumb for that, but it's I'm not thinking about the kind of long-term implications there.
For more wrong with that.
Yeah, for the more long-term stuff, yes, of course, as normal and hot as possible is definitely the goal.
Just remember what I said. Take the stuff that's already gone down to the food coins and put that on the ledger and hide. Okay, and then the final thing, in 17, and I think we talked about this a while back. So many people didn't cash out. They had their Blockfolio fortunes, right? You had the paper fortunes, and then they watched everything go up, and then it went down. My opinion about this time, and I want to actually the last question, but turn it into two. What I think is going to happen this time is I think we're going to have this Altseason that's going to go through August, September, and then I think it's going to retrace. But I don't think we're going to see quite the complete collapse of projects as we saw in a lot of them. I think the ones that have working products will go and somewhat stay, maybe not quite up, right? But somewhat. But regardless, it looks like we're finally getting to that full-blown Altseason we've been waiting for. I want to ask you, what do you feel about the Altseason time frame? Do you agree with that? Do you think it's different? And B, what advice would you tell? Because and I know, man, let's be honest. You could see them right now, and I'm noticing it on Twitter. There are so many people that are starting to make their money, and they're still not looking to cash out. You see this, you know it, we've lived it. What advice would you give them? What are you thinking about the Altseason?
Yeah, I mean, timing wise, I hate trying to time the market. I mean, if you look at, altcoin market cap as a whole, kind of, I haven't checked in on it in about a week or so, but we've just broken all-time high, really pushed through it. And that's general consensus is there's going to be a hard push up. You've seen Bitcoin and Ethereum kind of ranging. You've got all these new projects that are making people a ton of money already, but also too, we're kind of now opening the floodgates to retail again through these, the Dogecoins, the Safe Moons. That money does flow out eventually. As for timing, though, I hate trying to time the market.
It's kind of fun to speculate. No, I hear you.
Yeah,
but but my guess is as good as any, right? I mean, it's either I can guarantee you I'm either right or I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not. But if somebody said, just kind of guess. I mean, what do you think if you had to say?
I mean, like I fully believe.
Or do you think it goes longer?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think we're in alt season. You've seen coins pump 1,000x already. Like this could stop tomorrow for all I know. But I mean, realistically, I would love to continue, kind of seeing alts print money. Speculation here, just taking a stab at it all through 2021. We're pumping. I don't think it'll be this insane gains that we saw from 2017, where the market was less liquid, putting $1 into something, pushed it up higher, especially some sort of market buy, pushed it up higher, quicker, faster. You've got, all of these different, a lot of these coins nowadays, it's there's huge sell pressure from farming, from liquidity providing, from the 50 billion VCs that somehow got their hands in it with token unlocks every month, 6 months, year, whatever it may be. So, there's a lot more kind of balancing out the market this time around, in my opinion.
It's a different,
It's a very different market. Like, of course, you're still going to see the meme coins moon because nobody gives a shit about those. Nobody's, stacking the books with super heavy buys and sells.
Right.
You have retail just all start to buy it, and it pushes the price up very quick, and then attracts kind of that larger audience and kind of, slows down a little bit, ups and downs. Eventually I see those coins, completely selling off. You look at SafeMoon, it dumped, I don't know, 80%. I could be wrong. I'm just speaking numbers off the top of my head. But
I think you're right.
I think it's slow, continued growth throughout the end of the year. I mean, if Bitcoin and Ethereum continue to rip the way they have, like, it could be much shorter. And we did a 12x in a year, 10, 12x in a year. We do another one of those, and it's, you've 100x over a year and a half, 2 years. And I think that truly is unsustainable. But if we see this kind of slow, continued growth, I see no reason for 2021 to kind of, the fun to stop.
You may be right about that. One of the things, and I don't delete tweets. I keep them just because they're there, and I've been pretty good about picking, certain levels. I'm happy with that with Bitcoin, but I kind of stopped, and I was, a little while back on, I would always say what I thought it was going to this year or whatnot. And I don't comment as much anymore. Not that I won't again, and not that it's that big of a deal. Right. But I kept thinking, okay, it goes to 250 and then it retraces 80% because they talk about that. But in the fall, but I got to tell you, man, with the amount of institutional money that's coming in, I'm not so sure now that we're going to have that blow off top on Bitcoin. I mean, I'm sure at some point, like, let's just say, okay, we've said, or not say we said it, they say, right? The experts say that it might go to 250. Look, it could go to 500 and then go and then crash down to
the experts don't know shit.
Yeah, well, no, you're right. And so, well, that's the thing. You know what? Everybody has an opinion. And their opinion is right or wrong. You know what I mean? Me or anybody else. I mean, you don't know, but they say, but no, I don't know. I really don't. And I think, like I said, I've kind of stepped back from that because I don't know what Bitcoin at this point. It's just when you see the kind of money like to push Doge to 70 cents. Okay, that is maybe is what's eToro? I think has it now, but that is retail. So when you see this kind of money coming into the space, and Bitcoin has been driven up, as we know, by institutional. Man, it's almost like at this point, I feel like, be in your positions, get ready, but all bets are off for experts, right? So someone called experts making predictions because it's really hard to tell. I mean, it is a freaking unknown at this point.
You look at 2017, you had people calling for 100K Bitcoin, 250K Bitcoin, 1 million Bitcoin. These were the so-called experts who are making these predictions yet again. I feel like investors have a very short, memory.
Yeah, no, you're right. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's all speculation. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, the next day, whenever. It's buyers, sellers. More buyers come in, it pushes the price up, as lame as that is to say. But anyone who's sitting here, anyone sitting here saying, I did expert analysis on the chart and it says 225,000. It's all bullshit for engagement, in my opinion, at least.
No, but it is. And that's why I love that chart you see with all the lines all over it. This is the most accurate chart. You see the line just scribbled everywhere. Like
exactly. It's all speculation. So that's why I don't really like to. I mean, you take it one day at a time. You kind of assess the market on a day by day or week by week or month by month basis, depending on what kind of investor you are. And you kind of make your decisions based on that. And right now, I see no reason to be bearish. I'm bullish. Right. I own a lot of cryptocurrency. I'm not going to sell that off anytime soon. But, going back to your second part of that question, which is how do you kind of not lose it all again? This one, last time around, I made good money, but I was never at the point where I thought I wasn't thinking about, how much is enough. It was just, holy shit, my portfolio keeps going up. I'm making so much money. In the 3 years that it's taken to get back to where we are, as I've gotten a bit older, as I've quit my job and kind of put certain priorities in place and made time for some things and cut the fat on other things, I've come to realize, like, what my lifestyle and what my kind of dream life entails. And that's all that really matters. There's no specific number in mind, but I know what a comfortable lifestyle is. And so to sell off as I get into that kind of range, it doesn't matter what price it goes to. Everyone's like, oh, I got to sell the exact top. It's like,
which you know is impossible. Yeah, no, you always hear that, but it's so hard to do.
You don't. You know, what I think is easier to do than time the very top of the market is figure out a number that's important to you and make that number before we get to the top. I just tweeted this yesterday. It's make enough money before you hit the top to where it doesn't matter what the top is. You know, you've made what you are happy with.
Excellent.
And
yeah.
No, I don't know. Yeah. A lot of people get caught up in greed. You know, they see the 10x and they want the 100x.
Well, so as we said earlier about people in the space gambling, and look, and I say that, you know, with love for some of the people in the space. I mean, I have friends that do that. I mean, it's just, I think it's a thrill and a rush for those. Like for instance, I have never done leverage trading. That's crazy. Like, oh my gosh, I have not. But I know that is such a big thing. And whether you get to leverage trading or you get to not cashing out, the euphoria, and that's going back to where we are now, the euphoria phase, I feel like we're at the beginning of euphoria. As things go up, like Doge, I see Doge hitting $1. I don't see any reason why it doesn't. I'm not saying that it should, but when you see it at 70 cents, and I remember it was at 5 cents, and I think I tweeted at the time, it's going to 25 cents. Somebody messaged me and said, that's irresponsible. You go, hey, dog, that's irresponsible. And so I was like, oh, never mind. So then it's at 70, you know what I mean? So we have seen not just the silly season, but, with all the stuff going on, it is impossible. Like, look at Ethereum Classic today. It was at 140. I had a friend of mine last week asked to buy. I said, no, don't buy it. They had a break in the chain. You don't want that. The people that are getting that, right? This, I see Ethereum Classic. They're buying that. So it is so hard to predict where we're going to go. I just know what you're saying is 150% correct. Find your amount. Don't try and time the top because more than likely you can't do it. And if you did, you probably wouldn't cash it anyway. But take what you need and build a comfortable life for your family and yourself going forward.
Exactly. So here, going back to Doge, good example. Have you sold any of the Doge that you bought?
So I had Doge back in the day and I lost it. And probably a lot of people that had it when it was worthless. And it's kind of like, man, when I think about that now, it's like, oh man, it's just, it's like I lost it, and it's like, that just sucks. But no, but let's say if I had some, I'd get the heck out. And this is the thing. I think it's going to go, and this is just, of course, you got Musk on Saturday Night Live this week. I think it's going to $1. It might even go to $1.25, but it might even go higher at this point. But at some point, the people that have all these, and and I know there's people that have tons for back in the day, and look at the wallet concentration, they're going to cash out. I mean, you're going to see, I think the 17 bag holders, as we might call them, and everybody we know that has some bags from 17 that worthless or underwater, you're going to have a whole new generation of those. I think. I don't think the Doge thing is sustainable. I don't care if 10 organizations accept it. Between the amount of extra ones that come to the market and the people that have such supply. Wow. I think you're going to see a lot of people get wrecked on it. But dude, Charles, I have had probably 10 people ask me, 9 of which were not in crypto, should I buy Doge in the past 2 weeks? So
I had someone who called who said they made their first cryptocurrency purchase. I was like, congratulations, man. Good for you. What'd you buy? Dogecoin. I was like, do you own any Bitcoin? I swear to God. Do you own any Bitcoin? Do you own any Ethereum? No and no.
I own Doge.
What should I do with my Doge? I bought it at 27 cents. It's at 24 cents right now. I'm like, do whatever the fuck you want with it. Just buy some Bitcoin, buy some Ethereum.
No, but you're right. And and I know Bitcoin, Ethereum, long term, that's where to go. The problem is that I think what it's doing is luring in, and I don't, look, I hesitate. There's a big thing about Wall Street Bets and what they did. I think I was watching Kramer or somebody on CNBC. And like I inherently, like when Buffett and Munger got up there and were so dismissive of the new traders, I thought that was absolutely wrong. The fact is, back in the day, you had to go, I'm talking years ago, right? 50 years ago, you had to call a stockbroker and put orders in. You can do all of that from your phone now. Anybody, you don't need a degree. You don't need to have a middleman. That's what the internet specifically has done, right? And how trading is. And so people like Munger and Buffett, and Munger's 97. I mean, Munger doesn't like it. Of course he doesn't. I mean, he's 97. He probably didn't use email. And so they're dismissive. So I don't want to be, please understand, I don't want to be dismissive of new trades. What I'm getting at is that investing is good and learning to trade is good. The problem is when somebody buys Doge a few weeks ago or whatever at 30, 40 cents, right? Now it's worth 70. They feel like it's just going to keep going up and it's the best investment. And that's, I guess, my concern is then they buy more, it crashes down, they're going to lose money. So not to be dismissive because you are learning trading, but I'm like you're saying, do Bitcoin, do Ethereum. If you want to play around with Doge a little bit, but don't make that your only alt. You know?
I mean, hey, to each their own. Let it happen. They've made money on it so far. It's worked out for them so far. I think at some point, everyone does have that learning experience. You know, we've been around the block a couple times now. We've seen the ups and downs of the market. It's easy for us in hindsight to say, don't buy that shit. You know?
Yeah, no, I know. Dude, so like one of my closest friends, okay? Basically, I say my best friend. He hadn't really done a lot of crypto and does stuff with Robinhood. And he got at 1 cent, right? He found it under a cent earlier. And then I think he sold it at 5 cents or 10 cents. But now, and then he messaged me today. He's like, man, I hate to see Doge going up. And I'm kind of like, you know, and I'm thinking like, wow, I guess it's weird because, you know, you think about 70Xs, 100Xs. Yeah, I guess you could have had a 70X, but I like to think I know this space well. I wouldn't have told you to hold it that long. You know what I mean? So it really is defied, I think, with people that think we are knowledgeable in the space. Like, it's just, we don't know what the heck's going on. That being said, I don't know, man. It's yeah, I mean, people get to trade, but I just like somebody says, now, should I go into it? I'm like, no, find something else you could do well with. But then they could buy it at 70 and it goes to $1.50. And then I look stupid, right? Because I said, don't buy it at something else that went down. So I don't know, man. It's a whole new world. It feels like at this point, you know, I mean, who thought Dogecoin would be part of a whole new world?
All right. Yeah. It's, in my opinion, in my words, a clown market at the moment. Which is great for making money and definitely for new people. But, you know, as we've seen, it's unsustainable. And I do think that it will come crashing down at some point. And if it doesn't, I'm wrong. You know, there's nothing wrong with being wrong in investing. You know, you make money, you lose money, you miss out on gains,
sure.
You miss out on losses. Like, it doesn't matter to me. I think that's like my biggest thing that has really saved me a lot in recent years is that I don't give a fuck what any coin, sorry again for the language, but I do not care what any other coin does other than the coins in my portfolio. They don't matter to me. And like, it's taken a while for me to comprehend that. When I sell a coin, I don't look at it ever again.
Well, so when you sell, do you really not go back and look at how it did?
No, it's done.
I mean, I'm impressed. Because some people can't do that. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's like looking at somebody's page. You sure you don't do that?
So here's the thing. Like, I'll go through and I'll take a look at the top 100, top 200, top 500 coins from time to time. Of course, you see those coins that were in your portfolio. And you look at it and you're like, oh fuck, I sold that, and now it's at this. But for the most part, it's not something like I get rid of it in all my portfolio trackers. I'm no longer watching it on any charts. I'm no longer following them on social media, keeping up on updates. I kind of just remove it from my life because at whatever time I made the decision that I don't want to be buying or holding this coin anymore. You know, things do change, but again,
that's smart though.
So many coins other than Bitcoin and Ethereum, obviously, like I'll buy and sell those. I'll add to my long-term stack. I'll use, you know, short-term stuff to kind of move money around and make trades. But, you know, for the most part, there are so many projects and so many coins out there that are doing quote unquote groundbreaking work and printing these multiples that it doesn't matter. And I think it's just given me that kind of peace of mind that I otherwise wouldn't have. If I looked at Doge again and I was like, oh fuck, I could have made another 4x. I could have made another 5x, a 10x, a 50x.
No, you can't. You know? No, you're right though. But
it drives you insane.
Because you're keeping stress away because it'll just, I think if you look at something like that, especially something that goes up 100x, all it's going to do is aggravate you. You know what I mean? And you can't, you know, unless you get a time machine from Amazon, you can't do anything. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just, no, I'm with you on that. Like, if you're not following it, just move on. And I think some people, dude, they drive themselves crazy.
I mean, like, okay, so here,
wow.
I was maybe lying a little bit because I've actually posted about this a couple times. I'll generally keep it on my radar for about a week after the fact because I have a 99% hit rate on coins that I sell immediately going vertical.
Like, you know what? It's like, so wait, so
it's comical.
It goes up. Yeah, you sell, it'll go up.
It's comical. Honestly, I don't know how I do it. As soon as
funny.
I sold. Okay, here's just one example. Omise Go, OMG is the ticker.
Yeah.
I held it from $10 from 2018 down to like 70 cents or something like that in 2021. I think I actually ended up, it started pumping or something like that. Okay, and this is a coin that I've been holding on to for God knows how long. They've had no updates, no announcements, no nothing. I'm going to sell it. Immediately, literally the day or like 2 days after I sold it, Coinbase announcement, it pumps to $9. Pumps to $9. Fucking dollars.
That's exactly how it happens. That's a lot. I mean, it's not funny, but you know what I mean? Like,
oh, it's hilarious.
Which is crazy because you know what?
Comical.
Actually, you could have probably changed the Coinbase announcement knowing that, because had you waited 2 more days, they wouldn't have announced it for 2 more days.
Right?
It's
like that. That's the issue. It's happened with so many coins. I swear to God, it's over 50% to 100% pump within a week of me selling a coin. And so I'll generally, just for fun, I've been watching it for about a week. And then after that, I will completely take the coin off my radar. I've got a bunch of them that I've kind of just dropped off, and I'm not going to look at again until like the market is kind of fully reset and we've reassessed the market. 4, 5, 6 months down the line after I've sold a coin, I can look at it again with kind of peace of mind and in the right mindset. But if you sell your Doge and then you watch it go 2x, you're very much inclined to get back into that trade. And there is that much higher likelihood that it comes crashing down and you lose money on it. There's a very famous example, Newton, with the tulips, bought, sold for a profit, continued to watch the market. It dumped, continued to watch the market, and then it pumped fucking insane amounts. And he bought back in and then ended up losing a lot of money as it crashed. So I think that idea of just like, completely taking coins off your radar after you have sold them will really allow you to not jump back into these trades and, ride this crash all the way back down if that does end up happening.
No, it's best just to look at it and be like, it's like The Sopranos. It's over. And delete it,
Exactly.
And there's other opportunities out there. You know what I mean? It's like there's always other stuff. And I think that's part of the thing is that, and I think that's a good piece of advice to give people, is take it off and move on, because there are other opportunities and people get hung up. Well, let me get back into this. And like you said, and at that point, you've already, and especially if something's going up 50x, well, let me jump back in. You've missed a lot of the rocket anyway, but people do it all the time. So that's real good advice.
And well, that's the thing. Investing advice is different for everybody. Everyone has different risk tolerances. Everyone has kind of a different idea of how you should invest, what you should get out of investing. Personally for me, I've just found that this has kind of worked. Another person, got back in Doge after a 10x and then got their 10x out of it. I missed it. That's fine. I'm okay with it. They made money. I didn't. No big deal. But you really kind of need to figure out what kind of investor you are and what kind of trader you are if you're going to be actively trading, and then kind of find what fits best for you. I'm just kind of giving what works best for me.
And by the way, like you said, remember, this is not financial advice. This is just 2 friends talking.
Yes, I can say that for you on my Twitter.
This is not financial advice. And, seriously, it's like you're listening to a dog on Twitter, or you're, and I appreciate it, but at the end of the day, no, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just giving my opinion. But the internet has, entailed everybody to give their opinion. It's either right or it's wrong. But the thing is this: it's right or it's wrong, but you won't know till it happens. So like I say, and I mean this in all sincerity. Follow a bunch of people. You named some good accounts earlier. I'd say projects you like, do the cash tags, right? Pull them up so you can follow them. But at the end of the day, make your own decision. You know what I mean? And I think that's part of the challenges that people get. And like I mentioned, videos, and I guess I watch them with a careful eye, whatever. But it's like, I say, take as much content as you can, right? But ultimately, no one is responsible for your losses or your gains than yourself. So, take it in and make your own decisions. That's important.
100%. It's funny listening to these people complain about, oh, this person told me to buy this and I lost money and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Just take some responsibility for your actions.
Because I think when people lose, they want to blame it. And at the end of the day, nobody comes and does the sell.
I've lost so much money. Yeah, I've lost so much money listening to other people and not doing proper due diligence and blindly buying projects. And I got no one to blame but myself.
But brother, you have to, and that's the thing. When I see people, blaming somebody, it's like, dude, unless they came in your place. Look, unless they came and they put your finger on your buy order, they're not responsible. And vice versa. I mean, these accounts, I mean, anybody, right? Nobody cares if somebody sells and takes profit. I mean, let me be clear. We are advising people that it's smart to do so. But what I'm saying is if somebody promotes a project and there's a certain sell point, at the end of the day, or they support a project, everybody's kind of trying to do what they can to build up their stuff and to do what's up. But it's no one's responsibility to sell also. If you make $1 billion, obviously it's good for you, but no one's responsible for that either. You know what I mean? And they're kind of doing their own thing. So that's the bottom line is, you're responsible for your own thing. And I think that's really important for people to remember, definitely.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. So, well, brother, look, I appreciate you taking the time to do this. It means a lot. And nice to know that you were on the first month. And I know we talked about this, a couple of years ago. I said, man, I'm about to start the podcast. Well, a couple of years late, but
long time coming. But no, I appreciate you having me on. I'm excited to see where you take this. Huge guest to follow. So I appreciate you thinking of me.
Yeah, look, I sent you the DM. No,
I know. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't opened my DMs and read through my DMs in probably 6 months. Sometimes people will catch my eyes. I'll just open my DMs, see the first 6 people or whatever it shows on mobile. And if somebody catches my eye that I know, I'll click on their name. But honestly, right. I dread opening my DMs. Do you get
a lot of DMs? I mean, I'm assuming you get a lot.
I don't even know how many today. 15, 20, it's every single day, just constant DMs. So I feel terrible when, people I interact with and talk to and and enjoy and, want to have conversations with DM me, but it drives me insane to go through my DMs.
It would be cool if they had something like DMs for people that you know what I mean? That filtered it. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure you get it too. Pitches for projects that I'm I would check with a 10-foot pole. And I'm well, we'll pay you for this. I'm I'm not. And I say this, if I talk about something on Twitter, it's because I believe it's a good project. I've talked to the team, I've researched it, I'm involved, and I'm sure, when you have a fairly big account, you probably get pitched a bunch of doggy doo. You know what I'm saying? I have no doubt. Yeah. Yeah. And I'll say this, I don't ever see you promoting anything bad. I mean, I'm not making judgment calls. I'm just saying, I mean, you promote pretty solid stuff, but what I like about your account, and I want to, give them the tag so everybody can follow it, is that you do a lot of, we use the term shit posting, but you do a lot of funny posts, but you do very relevant things and you say things that are kind of one-liners that I think people could take away. It's basically good advice. And I enjoy your Twitter feed. It's absolutely one of my favorites. It has been. So please give everybody your Twitter feed.
It, man.
Well, it's good. I mean, look, it's good content. It's good content.
Thank you.
I mean, I know what it is, but tell the audience.
Yeah, for everybody else, it's CryptoCharles and then 2 underscores at the end. Okay. I got a little bit unfortunate with that one, but you take what you can get.
Sure.
But yeah, man, I appreciate it. I try to keep things fun and light on there because that's what social media is supposed to be about. But at the same time, I like to stay on top of relevant issues and ongoings in the cryptocurrency industry. And, I think it's good to keep people informed. It's cool. I've started to develop an audience outside of the crypto industry. Since I opened Arbitrage Ops with Soros and started the whole Amazon thing, I've really
that's cool.
Started to see a large audience that wasn't already crypto focused. And to see that audience start to get involved in the industry has been very, very cool over the last, I'd say, year or so.
That's awesome.
It's been wild.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, look, man, I wish you all the success. You've always been a good friend to me and I appreciate it. Obviously, we'll be rooting for you to do very well. Appreciate you making the time to be on the podcast. Enjoy talking with you. It's fun. Enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for having me on, man. It was an honor and a blast.
All right, brother. Have a good rest of your day and thanks for being on. Talk to you later.
You've been listening to the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. Follow on Twitter at WoofBigDawg. Woof, big DAWG. And run faster than the competition. Woof, woof.